Humans love lists. We have a list for everything. Today, let me introduce you to another one, the list of at-risk cultural sites. It is released every 2 years by the World Monuments Fund. It draws the world's attention to vulnerable sites, like the historic water systems or Baolis of India, or the temples of Cambodia. But this year, for the first time, the list has gone much further, much beyond our planet, into outer space. It mentions a surprising new locale, the moon, the desolate, cratered wasteland, the Earth's only natural satellite. Now it is an endangered cultural site. The fund says that 90 places on the moon are threatened, and the moon needs our protection. Against what exactly? Well, there is a list for that as well. A space race on steroids, governments desperate for human space flight, over-tourism extending to lunar landscapes, wealthy people awaiting their ticket to the moon, and of course, space debris. With millions of junk pieces floating away, all these factors could harm the moon. That's what experts say. That we humans who are shooting for the moon could damage it, which is a bit of a shock, considering how we feel about the moon. We are low-key obsessed with it. For centuries, it has been a source of fascination, a thing of legend. Many cultures called it a deity. We believed that it controlled our moods, our behaviors, and even our destinies. The moon has found its way into myths, art, literature, lullabies, and of course, Bollywood songs. But as technology developed, our relationship with the moon began to change. It started in 1609, when Galileo Galilei used his new telescope. He looked at the moon, then he grabbed his watercolors and painted the cratered surface. This was the first time humanity learned what the moon actually looked like. Then came the moon race. It began in 1959 when the Soviet probes got the first close-up pictures of the moon. In 1969, humans got much closer with the Apollo 11. The US landed humans on the moon, and this alien world turned more familiar. That's when astronauts first walked on the moon. It was in one lunar location, the Tranquility Base. That's what the place is called, where Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked. And do you know what happened next? They left footprints there on the moon. You can still see them. They also left behind 106 artifacts, tools, food packaging, wet wipes, 100 packets of urine and excrement. Apollo 11 was an engineering milestone. Its achievement inspired global wonder. But it also behaved like an unruly house guest, and this was more than half a century ago. To this day, only the US has landed humans on the moon, but 4 other countries have landed vehicles there: India, China, Japan, and the Soviet Union. In 2023, India made history. It landed a spacecraft on the lunar surface, in the lunar south. Last year, China landed on the moon's far side. It gave us the first close-up view there. So countries are increasingly seeing more of the moon. There are private players in the mix as well, like SpaceX. This week, it launched private robotic landers to the moon. NASA is planning a crewed lunar mission in 2027. After that, private lunar trips are expected, thanks to space tourism companies. They're cropping up the world over, promising lunar trips to the wealthy. These are all major milestones, yes. But who is looking after the tourist hotspot? Who is protecting the moon? Governments say apparently the Artemis Accords. They talk about moon exploration by using best practices, by protecting its heritage. 52 countries have signed these accords. It sounds well-meaning, but it is as good as howling at the moon. Artemis Accords are mere expectations. They list out norms, not guidelines. Worst of all, they are not legally binding. So no repercussions if you leave a pee bag up there. And this is the problem. What makes the moon special is also its Achilles heel. The moon does not belong to anybody. It stands alone. It is lifeless. It possesses very little except what we bring to it, whether with our imagination or with our robots and trash. So in this new era of lunar missions, we owe it to the moon and to ourselves to offer our only natural satellite something more: our consideration, our thoughtfulness, and our guardrails. Because anything we do on the moon, anything we do to it, will last forever. So it is time to love it responsibly, to the moon and back.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.